How's it going, everybody? This is Rarity Podcast number 1, and it's me, Eric, and
I'm Chris. What's up?
all right, everybody. We got a lot of stuff to talk about soon. E3 coming up next week, around the corner.
It's a big time of year.
Can't wait. It's gonna be great, and we have a ton of news to talk about, as you guys can see with
one of the most interesting bits of news is that certain gaming companies have decided to skip E3 altogether, which is kind of interesting as E3 gets more digital. So we're going to start off with Sony PlayStation. Eric, you want to take us through it?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, the state of plays are great so far. I'm digging the Nintendo Direct feel with the whole PlayStation thing.
Which is PlayStation's digital streaming version to reach out to more people and less physical representation itself. Which can be totally interesting, but in the same token, when you're just looking at trailers, it doesn't have the same impact of actually, getting hands-on, but you get to more people, so, give and take.
Yeah, and I mean, we're all on our phones every day looking at stuff anyway, so I mean, like, PlayStation's reaching us in the best possible way they can reach us, and Nintendo's been doing it, and you see that in Nintendo's conference that we're going to look at later, and with them doing mostly directs this E3, just like they did last E3.
Yeah.
Most of their stuff is coming through not on stage. They have booths still, and they'll let you get out there and play the games and stuff, which is great. But they're just doing live streams to talk about their new games.
Well, like you said, they're shifting from physical things. They didn't do PSX last year.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to E3 physically this year. They may be doing little streams and stuff before and after, but they're not actually going. So let's get into it.
Yeah. This is a huge piece from Tech Radar by a few of their people over there. And they just literally broke down everything, essentially, from the new announcements with the PS5.
Because head engineer Mark Cerny sat down with, was it Wired, I believe?
Yeah, I believe
and
so.
got into a lot of the technical specs, talking about they're getting rid of hard drives, they're moving to SSDs. For those that don't know, it's the flash memory that's much, much faster than a physical spinning drive.
Great.
Cool stuff. Big leap in making the PS4 and consoles much closer to PCs that have had that for a while.
Yeah.
And it's going to be one of those switches that once people go there is going to be pretty amazing at eliminating loading times. What did they do with that Spider-Man demo, Eric?
The loading times, they gave some journalists and some people, some investors, a little hands-on look at the new PS5 setup.
And it was Spider-Man, correct?
Yeah, they ran Spider-Man PS4, Marvel Spider-Man, and they are running tests showing what's happening on a PS4 Pro, which I believe it was 2.5 second loading time.
I think they had a couple ones, but I think it was like 14 seconds on a standard PlayStation 4 with Spider-Man as he's like web slinging into different zones of the city. And then on the dev kit for PS5, it was 0.8 seconds. Which
incredible speed difference.
And I don't know how many of you guys out there run into some of these newer style, high fidelity, high graphics games that when you get into a loading screen, you're there for several minutes. The people that tried Anthem know that going from loading screen to loading screen
takes a lot of time. Yeah, it's like that. Especially you were talking about this with your Xbox One X. I still have the standard PS4, and you're talking about your loading times for Assassin's Creed Odyssey were through the roof.
Yeah.
Because you're loading 4K textures and all this amazing quality, like frame rate and all this beautiful stuff.
It's got the extra horsepower, but it requires extra loading time, which if all things look this way, it's going to be a real big step for Sony to go to SSDs, and it's going to be easier for developers to design games with less loading time and less loading screen when you have this fast speed access. So it's looking really cool. I'm not a big Sony guy, but that's some very important stuff right there.
Yeah, and I'm sure Xbox is not far behind with that thought process either.
I don't doubt that. If not
farther along.
I don't doubt that. Well, the rumors talking about Xbox, not to jump the gun, say there's going to be 2 versions of the next Xbox. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But what kind of games do you think Sony's going to be having this year?
Honestly, I don't. I mean, we already kind of saw what they're showing us, and we might get maybe another state of play at E3.
Well, yeah,
but we're not sure because they told us they're just not having a presence at E3 at all.
They just had a Death Stranding trailer, which is very cool.
Which is right here.
They just announced the November or something date for Death Stranding.
November 8th.
November 8th,
which is that's awesome,
and not that far away
right here as well. Hideo Kojima's latest game. So which honestly, nobody expected this to be the game coming first.
No, Kojima's notorious for taking several years to work on a game, and while it has been a while since he left Konami and kind of founded his own thing and spun off, it seems like he's at a breakneck pace, which is kind of surprising because he's notorious for being artsy and taking his time with everything.
Yeah, we saw Days Gone, and we thought, okay, that's Sony's game for the year for the most part. We might get something. It was fucking, for the holiday season, but we weren't sure about that. And honestly, I didn't think we were gonna get anything at all.
So speaking of Days Gone, do you think there's going to be any Days Gone DLC? I think that's
possibly a few, but I don't see them doing any more than one or two DLC story missions or something like that to kind of wrap up the story a little better. Because I heard people weren't digging the ending. So
I've seen people really enjoy the game, and I've seen people really kind of not
say it fell flat.
Yeah,
it was a good game, but it fell flat.
There's a couple hour hump that's really hard to get over at like the 5 or 10 hour mark, and if you're not grabbed 5 or 10 hours into a game, the odds of getting grabbed after that are slim to none. So I think that was a big problem for that. But it still looked compelling. I like Sam Witwer as like a voice actor, CG actor guy. But the only other thing I can think of coming for Sony is Ghost of Tsushima, right? That's still
and The Last of Us Part 2.
And Last of Us Part 2.
Which is right here, as they mentioned.
I personally think that's either going to be a cross-gen game
100%.
Between PS4, PS5, 100%. Or strictly a PS5 launch title.
I think we could still see Death Stranding in games like Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding and Last of Us Part 2 are all going to have their PS5 version. Why wouldn't they? They're all exclusives.
So it's not going to be
just a better 4K version that runs way smoother and just is more compatible with the PS5. Because they're talking about cross-gen anyway.
Yeah, because
what's the difference? They're still going to use Blu-ray.
That's the real question of... If you do the PS5 version, obviously that's going to be a superior version. But if you do a PS4 version and put a PS4 disc in that, will it just play or will it play better? Because that's the Microsoft thing is it plays better, and they had to do a bunch of in-the-box and back-end voodoo to make that happen, which is kind of thoroughly impressive. The textures obviously don't get upgraded, but frame rates significantly do. So for me, that's the reason I enjoy Xbox.
Yeah.
But Sony definitely doing some crazy, interesting digital stuff this year. You got anything else, bud?
No, I mean, I as we see here, I honestly thought Last of Us Part 2 might be the next game, but as I've heard from people on like Kinda Funny and stuff like that, that they predicted even that they probably wouldn't put Days Gone and Last of Us near each other too much, even if they were finished, because of the whole zombie aspect and they're not really zombies, but it's close enough.
So
I to separate those two styles.
I don't think personally we're going to see a PlayStation 5 till either
21, maybe
either winter of 20 or spring of 21. I think we have at least a solid year to 18 months away. If there's no reason to bring it out. If they're pushing out dev kits and hardware specs now, that means they at least have enough of the build finalized that they can give people hey, this is what to look for, this is what to program for.
And they're giving out dev kits already.
And they're giving out dev kits, and for a dev kit to turn around a game, even a half-built game, to port it over to another platform, because if you have to think about it, as a developer, you're now not only doing Xbox and PlayStation, but you got to do Xbox One X, PlayStation Pro, and now whatever the next gen systems are coming around the corner.
They're not going to be prime games by any sorts, but they will still live up to going up a way higher fidelity on a PS5 than a PS4,
and still programming for PS4 as well, because now the PS4 is now the low end of that spectrum, and that's something you have to account for. Like you'll start to see
make money off both consoles,
absolutely,
for at least the next 2 years.
And from a business standpoint, you never want to walk away from a platform that sold pretty much 100 million units.
Dude, they're still doing PS3 support. They just ended PlayStation Plus's free
for
games
Vita and
like,
PS3.
They weaned out Vita like about a year ago or so, and then it's been about I say 6 months or so since they did PlayStation 3, and they did it for a reason. This is finally slowing down because they sold enough PS4s to have all those people PS3s be good now.
Well, not only that, but a lot of people still had PS3s because it was A, so expensive originally, but B, the cell processor and the Blu-ray player were like revolutionary for the time. It kind of ended up
free Blu-ray.
Kind of ended up biting Sony a little bit in the beginning of the generation, but still a good machine.
And here's the talk about the backwards compatibility now, and then also the cross-platform and progression, which is going to be great. Which I can't wait till this becomes super regular. Sorry, we're going to go off topic a little bit right here, but the cross-platform thing, which we'll get back to in a little while with Call of Duty's new game announcement, and it's going to be incredible soon what we're going to see with the new generation having cross-gen compatibilities, and we're going to have cross-platform compatibilities with Switch and Xbox and PC and Sony finally getting in the game and being okay. I think
that's what's going to be the legacy of this
year. It's going to be a weird generation next year, and it's going to be great.
That's what when we look back on this in the future, that's going to be the legacy of this year. Is the year that we really started cross-platform play, cross-platform saves. Yeah. Fortnite had a lot to do with it, but there were a lot of other games trying to do it beforehand. Psyonix with Rocket League, how they accidentally turned on cross-play like 4 or 5 times.
And then Fortnite followed in their footsteps and accidentally did the same.
And not only that, but the year of acquisitions. Microsoft turning around buying a bunch of studios. Epic turning around buying Psyonix and Rocket League, and Epic just making money hand over fist with so much stuff.
And now they just released Dauntless with at first we were told not full cross-play capabilities, just Xbox PC, and we could do PS4 PC, but not all three. Yeah. And then right the day before it launches, they announced, nope, we figured it out. PlayStation's all good. It's still an Epic Games. It's cut through everything's cut through Epic's game back end, so it doesn't matter. And it's not a new game getting in there and messing things up. And they just did Rocket Leagues, which is also on Epic Games back end. And so all this stuff is now merging together thanks to Epic Games, and we're gonna see soon with other companies doing the same.
With the coming generational switch too, all the platforms want as few advantages between them as they can. They don't want Microsoft to be able to keep touting that they're the cross-platform console. Yeah. And Sony being like,
very true.
Meh. So I think Sony is reluctantly doing that because they don't want to be beaten, because they know how it is to be beaten. They've been on top and then taken their lumps and come back again. So it'll be interesting to see how a wise Sony with a new president at the helm handles the next console launch.
Yeah, but, very true, man.
You want to move on to?
It's gonna be interesting, and I mean, EA. So with the new crazy Death Stranding trailer as well. Just to wrap up, Sony, it just dropped, and it was very significant. To say the least, for what the game might be, because we haven't had much about that at all, because it's a weird Hideo Kojima game. And so this is the first trailer to kind of give us insight into what's kind of happening in the game and the kind of gameplay you're going to be doing, which is not some stuff I've never seen in a video game before. From ladders that come out of your pocket and you open up a case and a ladder shoots out of the case and you have to climb up. And you can check out the trailer now.
A lot of the actors, as you can see, Mads Mikkelsen on screen right now. There's Norman Reedus in it. It's a very...
And a lot of babies. And they're calling them bridge babies. I think they're bridging... Sorry to cut you off. They're bridging into... The reason they're calling them bridge babies is because they're using the babies and connecting it to their suits to bridge into the other dimension and the other world. The darkness creatures that you see in the trailers. And there's some very interesting concepts and poetry and weird, hidden messages in this game that have been happening since the first trailer we've seen.
And not only that, but Kojima's known for his universe building, how he really gets into his story.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be in either love or I can't play that game. One of the two. It's one of the two.
Well, you guys can check out the most recent State of Play on PlayStation's YouTube, and I believe Death Stranding's trailer should be on that as well. And
with a couple million views.
They've been very transparent lately, so you can easily get access to anything you need to know about PlayStation stuff, along with the new Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer that just dropped on the State of Play.
So
hopefully we're getting something at the Square Enix conference about that.
Yeah, speaking of Square Enix and not Square Enix, Electronic Arts and companies not actually going to E3. They're doing we're going to be at E3, but next to E3, but we're not going to be in the conference with E3.
Do anything that we did before, put it that way.
So they've had a rough couple of years with microtransactions and
one of the biggest companies,
Belgium freaking out about stuff and all kinds of weird stuff. But their conference, in my opinion, looks a little bit sparse this year. Their live stream of play, EA Play live stream. It starts off with, in my opinion, the most interesting part of it, Jedi Fallen Order, coming from Respawn Studios, which is going to be super interesting. Because for those of you that have played Titanfall and Titanfall 2, that movement system, it feels so natural and fluid. It's going to be awesome. Plus, they have the guy from Shameless and Gotham playing the hiding Padawan Jedi learner.
This game's going to be incredible.
Yeah, which it takes place after Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and before Episode 4, A New Hope.
I have some hope, man. For the EA, I know they're having a weird conference. I know they had a weird couple last years.
Well, it's not
but
even
I have
a conference
some hope
per se.
That they, after all the shit they've said about, we're going in a multiplayer direction, we're going to go for our games as a live service direction, and they allowing Respawn to make their own game in secret, Apex, then allow them to focus most of their team on an amazing Star Wars game and a single-player game at that. Now, you have to remember who these people are at Respawn, and they've made us some amazing stories in Call of Duty.
I think,
and they were the lead in that. So
I think arguably Respawn is the best studio EA has right now.
Yeah, and their Titanfall story was incredible.
Sports games aside, I think Respawn is really supporting EA as a publisher heavily right now.
And vice versa.
Absolutely. BioWare, their previous heavy hitter, has had a rough couple years with the Mass Effect Andromeda launch from a satellite studio that had a lot of visual problems, a lot of glitches,
that's very true.
And then a lot of server stability issues, crashing PlayStation consoles with Anthem. Anthem is not part of any of the live stream festivities. They haven't really acknowledged it. Now, to be upfront, they have done some live streams repping their Cataclysm Endgame stuff that they were coming out, but they haven't really given a date for it. They haven't really given too much information on it.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, it seems like Anthem is kind of coming and going without too much fanfare, other than the initial problems at launch, which is sad, because I'm a big BioWare fan from back in the day. Loved Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, and as you can see here, you're just saying it.
Running through the list, they as we said, open
different kind of EA E3.
They open with Jedi Fallen Order. They get into Apex Legends, which I assume we're going to see some information about the Season 2 Battle Pass, maybe some more skins, some stuff like that.
Well, one new character is supposed to be getting announced.
Okay.
And then we are going to be getting one new gun announced as well, which we kind of already know what the gun is. We just, and we kind of know who the character is based off leaks and, Reddit posts, so of course. All you Redditors are going to...
And then it goes into Battlefield 5.
Figure out everything. Yeah, and then we go into Battlefield 5, which is kind of weird because there's no DICE announcements for Battlefront. They've been trying to support Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 5 with Firestorm and Battlefront 2.
They had some new maps for Battlefront 2. Battlefield 5 with their Firestorm DLC seems to have came out with a whimper. It's fine. It's a perfectly serviceable Battle Royale mode to a cool game, but it feels like Call of Duty did 2 years ago, where that's a game that came out. Infinite Warfare, that happened.
Yeah. I think it's really cool that our boy Greg Miller and then of course Andrea Renee, who did the E3 conference for EA last year. They're both hosting the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order announcements, and Andrea again at The Sims 4. Yeah, and then she's hosting a few other things later down the road.
And after Battlefield, they have Madden and FIFA,
which
is their annual iterations with minor updates and whatever loot box system
but
they
those
have.
seem to be, besides the Star Wars, the only 2 games they're announcing because The Sims 4 is out, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It seems The Sims 4 is out, and that's one of those games that has perpetual DLC. It's been out for 4 or 5 years, don't quote me, but it's got like hundreds of pieces of
never
DLC.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
So it seems kind of an odd E3, like as you were saying to me before we started this, it's a very odd EA E3 with having one legitimately new game, because I wouldn't consider FIFA or Madden a new game. Mm-hmm. It's an updated version of the last game. And we got nothing else.
It seems like a lot of the usual heavy hitters might be holding back stuff for next generation, because releasing a game at this point in the end of the cycle, if it's not 100% done or ready to go, because we've seen a lot of half-finished games come out lately, and I think that we can all see that they've suffered for that. From Fallout 76 to Anthem to Days Gone initially,
you can't have this many games. Even though Days Gone
was patched really quickly to a playable state, I think you have a lot of games coming out that aren't necessarily as thoroughly tested as they probably should have been. And I think that's going to be a big lesson that they learn from this year. Also, real quick, calling back to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, I think with Respawn doing that as a single-player game, you're seeing a reaction to when EA canceled Amy Hennig's game was a single-player game, which was supposed to be amazing, and so many people wanted just a traditional single-player Star Wars game, something that is in the universe, very lore-rich, because you want to hit that Star Wars fan base that's even maybe necessarily a little bit bigger and adjacent to some of our gamer fan base. That, like, even people that don't have PlayStations and Xboxes will go out and find a way to play the new Star Wars game.
Very true. And you guys can see here where to watch and what to expect, of course, from from the people who are getting this news. GameSpot,
Shout out to GameSpot, of course,
and all your social media networks.
That's all.
I mean, what to expect is basically what we just told you, and it's not going to be much of an E3 for them.
It seems like a very incremental update year aside from Star Wars.
Yeah, especially with the new consoles coming out soon, and their EA is probably focusing on stuff like that. And they have Star Wars to fall back on. They have Apex to fall back on.
I think
they have loyal Battlefield fans.
I think EA also has to do a real gut check and look at their existing properties and being like, what's working, what's not working. Because they put out a lot in the past couple years that's been really savaged in reviews and in the press, and even the fans. I mean, it's sad to say they were voted the worst company ever. How many times? Like a couple times, but they just need to check themselves.
Yeah, they really do. And they got to figure out what they want to do next if they want to give us, get their fans some loyalty back. Because I mean, just looking at their Twitter feed sometimes when they post stuff, it's, why haven't you updated this? Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you talked about this? And then, EA always money hungry, and and then it's also the loyal fans though that are the Battlefield fans and the Apex fans that are like, hey guys, chill out. Well, they're at least trying. Like I'm right in the middle. I know how everyone feels, but like honestly, for the most part, I've seen good things coming out of EA in the last.
I think they're getting progressively better. I think
they had to make mistakes they've made. They know
they had to make big mistakes to learn what not to do.
And
which is
they literally let Respawn have their own game and to just like completely kind of like, I'm sure they knew a little bit what was going on. But Apex was like an under wraps, like let the dev team take care of this, and they did let them do it. And now we're getting Star Wars, a single player game, which they told us we weren't gonna get, and we weren't gonna get a good single player game from EA. And here it is with a great. I mean, no, it's gonna have a great story.
And if you guys remember, Titanfall 2 launching in between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty. That was an amazing game.
I think they owed Respawn.
They got shafted on that. They got put out to die on that one. Which if you haven't bought Titanfall 2, please go buy Titanfall 2.
It's like $7.
Not even like $10, and it's one of the best single player stories that I've played in a long time. Because I don't really multiplayer shooter game like that. I'm more about the single player stories, which is why I love Battlefield 1. But go check out Titanfall 2. Amazing.
Yeah, amazing game.
Microsoft.
Alright, we're gonna move on to Microsoft, which for the most part, you can kind of lead this one off. Since, just like I'm the PS4 guy, he's the Xbox guy. He's got this one.
They seem to be the biggest game in town because they're the only game in town, so to speak. Starting at the top, Microsoft. A lot of people are expecting a lot of things from the Microsoft conference. Partially because Microsoft has promised a lot of stuff. Partially because Microsoft has the most potential of any of them. Last year, they picked up, I believe, 10 or 11 studios on top of their existing ones. And we're going to start to see teasers and trailers for a lot of that stuff for not only the tail end of this generation, but the upcoming generation, which is going to be interesting. Rumor-wise, they are supposedly doing 2 variations of the console for next generation. The Anaconda and the Scarlet. One of them is a larger, traditional standalone console, very beefy. Probably going to be a full-price box of the $400 to $500 range. It's going to be a beast, from what everybody says. The other console is going to be like a light version. Probably going to have a standard hard drive to it and minimal inputs, because they're going to start to rely more heavily on their Game Pass and the xCloud streaming, which they're going to probably dive a lot into xCloud over the next couple weeks. If you've been paying attention, some
exciting stuff coming, man.
If you've been paying attention, they just within the past week rolled out Xbox Game Pass to the PC marketplace, and the rumor has it that if you are a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, which is the combined subscription of Gold and Game Pass together, you will get the PC Game Pass bundled into that. We don't necessarily have verification of that yet, but that's what the rumor mill's saying. You can still get PC Game Pass by itself because Microsoft will find a way for you to give them money.
Yep.
But if you want to be bundled in their ecosystem and play those games cross-save, cross-device, cross-location, that's one of the cool things Microsoft has been trying to do in thinking outside of the Xbox.
Games Radar News. As you can see, they're talking about a lot of the stuff he's talking about with Xbox Project Scarlet, and we got a couple game announcements that we do know about, or may be coming. So, Gears 5, Halo Infinite, Fable 4, what else?
So, Coalition that does Gears, they're teasing Gears 5, but more importantly, a real quick teaser we saw at last E3, which what I'm excited for is Gears Tactics. That is a XCOM-like Gears system that looks very cool. It's supposed to be, from what the rumors on Reddit are saying, it's supposed to be taking place during the first war, during the first Gears of War.
So before Marcus and all that.
Before Marcus and all that, and it's supposed to be an individual squad. It's not Phoenix and all that stuff.
That's cool.
That's really cool. They're going to have the mobile-like Gears Pop, which... No comment on what that game is going to be.
I mean, dude, they're making a kid-friendly Gears game. Like,
it's a mobile game.
It is what it is.
So, Coalition bringing out multiple games, and I think we'll see a launch date for Gears Tactics, because them having just announced Game Pass on PC, that is supposed to be a PC-only game. And at the time, last year, we were wondering why they would show a PC-only Microsoft game on the Xbox stage. Cool game, but what's the deal? And now if they bring that out on PC as part of a PC Games Pass, and maybe 6 months later have an Xbox port version of it, and have that be cross-platform, that's going to play into Microsoft's whole one-service strategy, because Microsoft, I think, is leaning more towards a services company.
If you think about it, if you own a game on PC, by all technicality, you could stream your game to your Xbox that you own on PC or have downloaded on your PC, and it'll allow you to stream one to the other and just have your console control.
With Microsoft's Play Anywhere stuff that they rolled out a couple years ago that doesn't get a lot of press, their first-party games primarily, if you buy them on Xbox, you automatically have them in the Windows Store on your PC, as long as you have the same login and ID. I believe you might be able to share that within like their Microsoft family sharing thing, but that's another video for another time.
Essentially.
Yeah. So we are also supposed to be hearing stuff from 343 with information on Halo Infinite, which that is sorely overdue. The trailer looks amazing. The trailer looks absolutely amazing. I was very hyped for that. The rumors are saying that this might be a numbered Halo that has a story, but feel open world-ish, almost like a Destiny-like.
Which is why I think they went with the name Infinite, because it's not going to be a traditional Halo game, but it's going to be...
It'll have a traditional Halo story,
but
it'll have that kind of battle for the world feeling.
And this way they could break out a new line of games if they want. They can go Halo 6 and they can also go Halo Infinite 2. You know what I mean? Like they can make a different type of game.
And not only that, but last year...
I bet you it's games as a service style Halo. I know it is. You make your own Spartan, and it's back when there was 300. Like,
or you start off as just a random trooper and work your way up to like an ODST.
It could be in the future too, and you could just be when they were they're starting to make all the new generation Spartans.
They have said that the story aspect of the game does address the Halo 5, so it is a continuation of the story.
Okay, so
but I think it's going to play in this much larger space.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. That'd be very cool.
And maybe they'll have like a Master Chief campaign and a like go around and do shit with your friends campaign.
Exactly. I think they're going to try and have it be a very like you're running with the chief while the chief is doing this stuff kind of thing. Cool. Like you might be a member.
That'd be awesome.
Might be a member of what is it? Blue Squad, Blue Team.
Yeah. I think honestly next gen I'm going to have to get an Xbox as well. Because I like the whole skipping generation thing that I ended up doing. I had the PS2, then I had the Xbox, and then I had then I never got the PS3. You get it. Yeah. I had a 360, and then I went to PS4 from the 360 and was able to play all the PS3 stuff. And now I'll be able to play all that Xbox One.
I've done every other generation on Sony. I had a PS1, I had a PS3. I might get a 5. I mean, not. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm honestly so happy I did not get a 1. Honestly,
I've had all the Xboxes. I'm glad
it wasn't a bad year, but it wasn't a great generation either.
I'm glad I got a 1, but in the same token, I also didn't get it at launch. I waited about 18 months, almost 2 years.
And there's still a few of those PlayStation games that you're like, I wish I could have tried that.
God of War looks absolutely fantastic. So we'll see what happens, and if Sony does their backwards compatibility, then I might not have to get a PS4. So continuing with Microsoft, though, we're going to talk about Playground Games. The guys who usually do Forza Horizons, which not everybody's a racing fan, but I think Forza Horizon games are literally just fun, drive around, arcadey, beautiful looking games. The visuals on those games are amazing. But what's interesting about that is they are rumored at Playground to be doing the next Fable.
Interesting. Yes. I keep hearing about that.
I don't know if it's going to be Fable 4 or if it's going to be a Fable reboot to the series.
And they kind of practice the open world thing with Horizon. And the
last 2 Horizon games, Horizon 3 and Horizon 4,
both had
super open world, super textures. The Horizon 4 on Game Pass, you can play it. It was in England, and you looked at some of the trees and the stone wall and the textures, and it felt like fast forward and strip out some of the buildings and cars, and I could totally see a Fable universe just like that. Because it was stunning, it was great to interact with. I really enjoyed it. So I think it's going to be very interesting for Playground to have an action adventure game. Yeah. So that could be really cool. That's been teased for like 2 years.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about that, and I mean. I can definitely see it happening. And look, you can see here that in 2017, right about the time when they would start said new game, they opened up a second studio for an open world game.
And the primary management of the studio is still overseeing both games of whatever the next Forza Horizon is, which we assume 5. But that's probably, I think, not going to be until next generation, especially if they just came out with 4
Game Industry
a year ago. Game Industry.
They're always great for legit stuff, and there you go. I mean, they tell you that their goal. That's another goal of Project 2. So yeah, they're talking about having a completely new project at Playground Games. That it's obviously not going to be a Forza game if they made a new studio.
And not only that, but if it's one of either the Initiative, which is the new studio Microsoft formed from nothing, or one of these studios Microsoft bought because they bought a bunch of them. I don't think anybody is spun up to the point that Playground is to have the game come out in a timely fashion. So I think Playground's definitely doing that, and they're probably going to push Forza Horizon to the next generation.
Yeah, as you can see, the Initiative, Chris, look, on Wikipedia, can't click it. It just says the Initiative, Xbox Global Publishing, and you don't get to know what they're about.
They've been staffing up for a while.
It's interesting.
It's going to be a while until we see something from them, but from the people they're hiring from other major studios with vast resumes of incredible games.
Of course,
it's gonna be an awesome studio. But
they have a lot of awesome studios coming up, and as you can see, the whole list of new studios they have, and they used to have what, 4, 5?
Yeah,
and now
they went through a
14,
period where they
20.
closed a lot too. Like they closed Lionhead, the previous developer of Fable.
Yeah.
But sticking with the racing studios, it recently came out in an article. I don't recall where I see it. Turn 10 Studios, the standard Forza Motorsport series, the more technical racer, they're also not doing anything this year. I think they're also saving a next-gen game coming out. So their 2 racing studios aren't going to be doing anything for the foreseeable future, which makes sense because they've been hyping Forza 4 as a live service game.
Yeah, and it's pushing.
And A, it's a fun game, but B, the way that game changes every, I believe it's 2 weeks or every month, where it has a seasonal change to the game, where for 2 weeks it's fall, and then 2 weeks it's winter, and 2 weeks it's spring. And the way that you will drive in rain versus snow versus cold versus hot really does affect the handling of the game. And I think it's a fantastic idea they implemented to make a live service racing game. Eventually they're going to replace it with the next one, but I think that they'll easily be able to get a couple years out of that game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I never really got the chance to play a Forza Horizon, especially not 3 or 4. And when I saw you playing 3 at your house, I was like, wow, this game looks way more intuitive and interesting than I thought a fucking racing game
I'm not
could
a
be.
traditional racer fan. I ended up
not
getting,
at all.
I ended up getting Forza Horizon.
You are not a racing game person.
No, not at all. I got Forza Horizon on the random as a games with gold. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Let me try this. And it was an arcadey, fun, goofy racing game that was technically proficient, but it was fun. Yeah. You can hit a $120 and hit a wall, and like you don't die, which is nice. It messes up your car totally, and you're not going to win the race, but you can still drive around, and it's a game that you don't really mind making mistakes. Making mistakes make you learn better, whereas. Forza Motorsport from Turn 10, the other Microsoft big racing title, is technical. Like, most people race from in the driver's seat.
Yeah,
like,
and when you hit a wall, you're done.
Yeah. The difference is most people will play Forza Motorsport if you're super serious in, like, a racing chair or, like, you know, they have custom rigs. Whereas Horizon is their more arcadey, like, fun. Like, you know, go do a lap, do an event, play for 10 minutes, be out.
Yeah, so. And it's the best way to play a racing game. Honestly, they did a good job with that. Honestly, Need for Speed did that too. They kind of made their own. Like, first one we've ever seen was Burnout Paradise, which I just rebought because of how cool that was.
And with the
that was a long time ago.
And with the couple-year gap between Need for Speeds and Burnouts.
This Forza came in and was like, that's our shit.
And the terrible reviews that the crew got, I think a lot of racing fans were out there looking for a different racing experience.
You got any more on Xbox?
Yeah, I was actually just going to transition real quick to Mojang, Minecraft. There's always going to be something for Minecraft. They're always making more stuff for Minecraft. The big one real quick is they're launching Minecraft AR. If you saw the HoloLens demo from Microsoft a couple years ago, where you're interacting with your environment, you're not playing a game in their world, you're playing a game in yours. I think that's going to be a really huge innovation for them. Minecraft is still huge. It's one of those silent giants.
Minecraft Earth, it's called.
Yes.
And augmented
Android
reality,
and iOS.
Android and iOS. Look at Xbox making moves, getting friendly with everybody, which is something
platforms.
I do want to bring up. Before we get off the Xbox topic, we have to bring up the fact that they've been talking to everybody and dealing with everyone and working in the background and being friendly with all their old enemies, which is a great new side of Microsoft that we have not seen in the past. We usually got the Microsoft that goes, no, I'm making that, and I'm making this, and I'm going to compete with you on this, and I'm going to make a new phone that I know can't get out there, but I'm going to try anyway. And they used to be the people always against everyone. And then I think Minecraft and having new people in the right places changed their outlook on things.
Yeah, I think it's one of those studios that just constantly keeps putting out good work that you don't necessarily pay attention to if you're not hyper into it.
Yeah.
So
Minecraft Earth should be pretty interesting. I saw the trailer for that where they're the kid's riding down the street on his skateboard and he's He's coming down with his phone in his hand, pressing buttons, and literally around him, the world is changing because he's building his own little world in Minecraft, but in the real world. So, should be a pretty interesting little app to get.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be cool. I think it'll definitely have its Pokemon Go moment and get real big for a minute.
Only thing I'm a little worried about is the AR part of it. And I heard somebody mention this on Kinda Funny. They were saying that the augmented reality, when you were in Pokemon Go and you'd use the augmented reality camera and like try to actually catch a Pokemon with all your stuff in the background, the processor of the phone had a bit of a hard time handling all that.
I think that's why they're going to iOS and Android. I think they're going to
new versions.
They're going to have. It's going to be one of those games you can only play on certain newer flagship phones.
Very new.
It wouldn't surprise me at all if Samsung doesn't try and like get exclusivity for 90 days or something like they did with Fortnite, where it's like, hey, you're only through us for a minute.
Very true.
The only other big kind of thing that I could think of was Obsidian Entertainment. They have that new game from the creators of Fallout calling Outer Worlds, which, given the kind of harsh reviews and fan grumblings about Fallout 76...
they did Neverwinter and Knights of the Old Republic.
They did Knights of the Old Republic 2, Neverwinter Nights, Fallout New Vegas. They have a huge pedigree of amazing games that it's always been an overlooked studio. They did one of my favorite games, South Park Stick of Truth. That was an awesome, awesome game. It ended up working amazing.
Interesting.
So, the Outer Worlds, which is different from Outer Wilds, which that's going to be a fun thing. Outer Worlds is the new Obsidian game. It is a spacefaring, open world, plural, multiplayer, or not multiplayer, single player experience. That's going to be story driven and an adventure game, and I think it's really going to scratch an itch for a lot of people looking for a Fallout-like game that might necessarily.
Oh, they did Skyforge too. That's that free game on all the different consoles.
Yes, they've been doing things for a while.
Pillars of Eternity too. A lot of people have been saying that's a great game.
I believe they did Pillars of Eternity 1 as well.
I didn't see it.
It's in there somewhere.
No, I don't think so. It seems like they pick up a lot of sequels. Yeah, it is in here. Okay.
Yeah,
but they seems like they picked up a few sequels.
They are an amazing sequel studio. That's kind of has quietly been what they're known for. They will take other people's engine and tech and craft awesome stories to it. The dude that's like one of the heads of the studio, Ergus Farquaad, is a very weird dude, but shout out to IGN Unfiltered. Ryan McCaffrey did a great interview with him that he talked about a lot of awesome old games they worked on and a lot of awesome ideas. But I think that was a very smart pickup for Microsoft to grab Obsidian.
Got that right.
Because that's one of those studios, you fund them.
That's another game that is coming out on PS4 as well, is it not?
Yeah, Microsoft has multiple games for the studios they purchased.
The developers.
They own the developers that are still coming out on PlayStation consoles. One of the ones that actually just happened a couple months ago, We Happy Few, was originally, even though Microsoft owned the studio, before Microsoft bought them...
It was going to be a Sony thing?
No, it was being published by
Epic.
2K.
2K? Oh,
2K,
yeah, that's right.
The Borderlands folks. And that publishing agreement stood. Microsoft wasn't trying to mess up any existing business agreements.
That's
and
awesome.
I think that's what sweetened the pot for them to get that out there in that way.
Wow. Xbox is making some moves, and that's what I was just talking about. They've been very friendly with a lot of people. And you see that with the new Sony and Xbox agreement, or Sony Microsoft agreement with the back-end Azure streaming services that they're going to be
cloud
using.
Power,
and then you got them rolling out games like Neo 2. They own that studio who's making that. That's coming to PlayStation, and I believe
which Neo studio? Which two?
The studio's Ninja Theory.
Yeah, they straight up
own
Ninja
Theory, and they're running multiple games come out from Ninja Theory on a lot of consoles. Now, whether that, like you said, whether it's just an existing thing is kind of, that's up for interpretation. Like
the funny part in all this is I think Microsoft, and shout out to Phil Spencer, they realized that no matter where they buy the game, Microsoft still gets their cut because it's their studio. You know what I mean? It still shows up profitable for them one way or another.
I guess I think I'm off on Ninja Theory. What's the other Ninja studio?
Ninja Theory is the Microsoft-owned studio.
I know. I'm right about that.
It's Team Ninja.
Team Ninja. That's who it is. That's who's making Neo.
Okay.
I messed up on that. These are the guys who did
Hellblade:
Hellblade,
Senua's Sacrifice.
and they did a VR version. I did not know.
It still counts because they did just port Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice to the Switch.
And that's what I was going to say. It goes along with the point I was trying to make that Xbox has been making games that have been releasing on PS4, on Switch, and on everything.
We Happy Few did come to PS4.
And, yes, it's Xbox, own companies that are putting those games out, so it's not necessarily it's Halo coming to PS4. It's nothing like that.
It's a Microsoft subsidiary playing nice with a non-Microsoft company, which is still impressive.
That's what I was going to say, is it could... Do you think we're going to see a shift from that later? Is it going to be now that we own you guys, you have to have exclusivity deals with us?
I don't think so. I think they're going to try and keep it very similar, unless it's a really amazing game they're trying to keep in-house. Because I think Microsoft is trying to use that as a differentiator, that they're a first-party studio that will put their games eventually on other platforms.
Yeah.
I could totally see a timed exclusivity of maybe 6 months, 9 months, a year, something like that, and then they'll port it over after the fact, much like Microsoft had the exclusivity deal with Crystal Dynamics, the Square Enix-owned studio that did Tomb Raiders. Because if you look and remember all the Tomb Raider games, Tomb Raider 2 had a year exclusivity before it came to the PlayStation 4. And it came to the PlayStation 4 as the 20th anniversary collection with all the DLC bundled into it and everything. And it ended up working out awesome. But in the same token, I think Square and Crystal Dynamics kind of got a little...
Yeah, they didn't feel too great about how that worked out.
They weren't seeing the sales...
I think Xbox learned from that.
Yeah, they weren't seeing the sales off the bat that they wanted to because they were only on Microsoft's 30 million consoles.
And that game got kind of brushed under the table because of it. Even Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the more recent game, did not get as much attention and love because not as many people stuck with the series. Yeah,
which is honestly kind of sad because Rise of the Tomb Raider, the second one in the series, was arguably the best one. It was absolutely amazing.
I'm still in the middle of it now. I've been playing it on and off, and it's great.
I bought it on a sale when it was $20 a year ago, and then when I got my Xbox One X, that was one of those first games I loaded up to see the graphical quality and the water and the physics. It was thoroughly impressive.
Is incredible, which is, again, something we'll bring up later. Crystal Dynamics is why I'm so happy that the Avengers game is in their hands.
At the Square Enix conference,
Shadow of the Tomb Raider, that was their last game in that franchise. So half the group's been working on Avengers for a long time, but now we have the other half of the group coming in from finishing off Tomb Raider. And it's a lot. So you got anything else from Xbox? I was gonna, sorry to cut you off one more time, but we're definitely got to do another video here on the Xbox stuff.
Yeah.
The Xbox stuff that is no, I was talking about the stuff that you were mentioning before to me about the Xbox probably kind of spreading their wings now and maybe dropping consoles in the future. That's a subject I wanted to bring up and kind of do a video on in itself.
Sure. I think long term that's possible, but I think they're still going to make a Xbox for a while because they still have that profitability from the ecosystem.
Of course.
They still have people that pay for Xbox Live Gold on Xbox 360.
Yeah, I know.
Which is
so they're not going to stop anytime soon, but they could make a really good console this time, and maybe a couple reiterations, but more focus on the broader picture.
And I think what it's going to be is...
We'll see how that goes.
I think when we do that video, I think it's going to be... It plays best on their Xbox, but you can play it anywhere.
Even maybe PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch, with games like Cuphead and Senua's Sacrifice coming to those consoles.
And selling huge on those consoles, I might add.
And everyone's happy. Nintendo's happy. They're getting a great game that's selling amazingly. Why wouldn't they go into Games Pass with them too?
So the only other thing...
Could be an interesting concept. We'll see.
The only other Microsoft thing to bring up is their streaming service as a competitor to Google Stadia. Google's wannabe streaming service.
PlayStation also wanting to get in the pot.
Microsoft Project xCloud. They've done some very small tech demos with Android devices where they literally have a Microsoft Bluetooth controller and they clamp a phone to it and download an Android app because Android is a little bit more of an open ecosystem than iOS. Apple and iOS like to try and test and clamp down because Apple likes their cut of things. But we'll see if it comes there or not. I assume it will eventually because there's other Microsoft products on the Apple App Store. But it's going to be an interesting concept that you can start a game on the go and then resume it, just pick it up right at home on your Xbox.
Yep.
Or on your PC or what have you. I think it's going to be a really interesting concept. I think Microsoft, with their backbone and server technology, is in a much better place than Google to implement that streaming tech. Also, with the limited download capability they have with Games Pass, I think they're going to kind of bundle everything together into a super service and really try and strive to be that, hey, if you want to play a video game, whether it's on our Xbox or off our Xbox, sign up for Games Pass Ultimate, and you can do whatever you want on whatever you want.
Yeah, of course.
It plays best on Xbox, but you can play it
wherever you want.
I think it's a really smart strategy to diversify.
We're most likely not going to hear or see anything from Undead Labs or...
No, Undead Labs did State of Decay 2.
343 will definitely see some Halo Infinite stuff, so you can look forward to that.
Yeah,
of course.
Undead Labs did State of Decay 2 about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, so they're probably just ending DLC support for that game. I know they came out with DLC about 6 months ago.
Honestly, like, with them saying, like, I just counted. They have 14 studios here.
Yep.
And from what the news we got is people are saying 14 first-party games to announce at E3.
Yep. I think Microsoft's coming out big.
Incredible, like, feat to try to say something like that.
I still think we're going to see a couple studios kind of stay off to the side and be quiet. Their project might not necessarily be ready. It needs a little bit more time in the oven.
Who the hell is making the other first-party games then?
But you got to think, the Coalition with their Gears of War projects have 3 games.
You got me there. So that takes out 2 studios at least.
It's been over 2 years since 343 had a Halo Wars. Which, while not blowing the doors off the gaming industry,
could bang out 2 of them.
A lot of people
343
really
is pretty big.
A lot of people. Well, 343 opened worked with or opened the second team to do Halo Wars 2.
Okay.
It was a very fun game. It had a lot of different modes. I really enjoyed it, but I think that's one of those like niche strategy games where like it'll sell 5 million, 3 million copies or whatever, and makes a little bit of money, and that's like just kind of their own little world thing. I would not be surprised if we see a teaser for that, maybe not necessarily a date or anything big. They haven't announced anything, but it wouldn't surprise me if 343 goes, Halo Infinite's the next Xbox, but maybe at the end of this generation we have this. One of those kind of moments.
Yeah, of course.
But
I can see that coming too.
Microsoft's clearly swinging for the fences this year.
Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. We might see, like you said before, we might see Battletoads could get announced. That's a small game.
Yeah, that's a big cut because Phil Spencer's been hyping Battletoads, quietly wearing T-shirts and stuff for a while.
I could also see them bringing in Sea of Thieves too, with like a huge update in that.
Because Sea of Thieves currently is Microsoft's major live service game. I know we said that Forza Horizon 4 is with their racing game, but it is a live service game of a different type.
Yep.
Sea of Thieves is definitely one of those slow growth games that when you came out, there was a lot of feedback that, hey, this is a fun, cool concept. I love being a pirate and talking with my friends, but there's not really a lot to do. They've had multiple major DLC add-ons for that game that are included in it that are really cool. The only other thing I have to say about the Microsoft conference is this is where I expect to see a real big Call of Duty trailer for the next Call of Duty, because I can't see Activision and Call of Duty being on any other developer's stage because they're not really partnered with them like that. But I could totally see Microsoft putting this trailer out, having it play on an Xbox One X, and look absolutely amazing.
Yeah, me too. I definitely... Yeah. I'm excited to see what Xbox brings to the table this year.
And I imagine...
I don't even own the console.
I imagine Activision will have streams and announcements after the fact, but I totally think there'll be a trailer on the Microsoft stage, because that's the biggest show.
Yeah, they're not doing a
That's one of the first parties, because you're not going to see a Nintendo or Sony one unless Call of Duty skips E3 altogether and maybe goes on a Sony State of Play.
No, they're not. I don't think they're going to skip it.
And I don't think they will either, because Call of Duty is far too big of a franchise just to skip E3.
And you know, good segue, by the way, into the Call of Duty Modern Warfare came. Then we got, you know, obviously, so some of you probably have seen the trailer. It's been in ads all over YouTube already. And we got it. I'm honestly excited for a Call of Duty game for the first time in a while. I did try World War II. I haven't played Call of Duty in years, but I used to be a huge fan. And for them to bring Modern Warfare back with this soft reboot, give us a co-op campaign, and it casually, apparently, in the journalist, the press thing that they did, they casually mentioned crossplay. Yeah. Full crossplay. All across the board.
By the way,
from Activision, and everyone's freaking out, saying, "Wait, guys, you're skipping the most important part. What about this crossplay thing?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, full crossplay, no big deal."
I think in reference to the crossplay thing, I think to an extent they saw a dip in their sales from Fortnite,
and they know what to do.
They saw where the audience was going, and they are going to move to where the audience is. Yeah,
crossplay. I could see them bringing crossplay with this game's release or near this game's release, making another Call of Duty backbone, Call of Duty Elite thing, like they had in the past, and do exactly what Epic Games did, and have your BlizzardNet sign in link to your console no matter what you're on. And link you to your Call of Duty and be able to play through that.
And Call of Duty and Activision is totally big enough to where that they can throw their weight around and make that happen. Because as we know, Sony, while open to crossplay on a beta test, very limited run, there's only a fistful of games that does Sony crossplay. They do Rocket League, which is now bought by Epic. Yeah. And then they do Fortnite and Dauntless, which is Epic again.
Yeah.
I mean,
look at the future of that.
Final Fantasy XIV has PC, PS4 crossplay, so that's in there. But
that's been there for a while, but we want real crossplay.
Yeah, that's not all platforms. Yeah,
it's what's newsworthy quotes.
But Call of Duty, much like Star Wars, is one of those big titles that people that aren't real pay attention to every single new piece of news in the industry and new game that's out there. People will turn around and just go buy the annual this year's Call of Duty. I have friends from college that they just kind of casually play games, but they always have whatever this year's Madden and this year's Call of Duty is. And that's their bread and butter, meat and potatoes. Those are the 2 or 3 games I play. Or, there might be some NBA, 2K20 or 2K19 or whatever in there, but those are their main, I bought the new console and I bought those games. That's it.
Yep, and I'm looking at this future of Activision / Blizzard with the crossplay thing. Like I said, that gets more users on BlizzardNet. It gets more users on the Activision website and the back end of that.
Totally.
And what about Diablo? Why not make that crossplay? How many times have they reiterated that game? Why not do it again? It's on all consoles.
I would love to see that happen.
I think it might.
I think that would cause more trouble than it would good, because although it's on all these platforms and it's been around for a long time, I think it's harder for them to go back and do a major update to all these previous versions. I think they're more.
But they've been updating Diablo on all consoles for still recently.
What they had, I believe it was some Necromancer DLC within the past year or something. But I think they're more likely to do crossplay with whatever the next Diablo is, rather than update the previous gen.
Unless they're really trying to stick with it and not make another new one soon. But I'm just saying in general, as a general statement now, where they're going to have a lot of people log on to their servers and log on to their stuff on the websites, and they're going to use that to their advantage. Getting all these Call of Duty people to sign on to BlizzNet, it's kind of... That's a good step in the right direction for them.
Activision Blizzard?
Yeah, and so here they are talking about the zombies co-op and all that in Modern Warfare. It's really coming back to the roots of Modern Warfare. They're not doing zombies.
It seems like it's a very fan service heavy Call of Duty, which is good.
But they're staying away from Treyarch's bread and butter, the zombies and the real multiplayer stuff, because they've said they're not doing Battle Royale for this Modern Warfare. Mm-hmm. They're doing strictly, original multiplayer, and they're going to not do zombies, and they're giving us a single player that goes directly into co-op storyline, no stop. And that's according to people over at PlayStation Lifestyle. And so, I mean...
From Polygon.
Yeah. And we're not going to get too much information on it yet, being that it's May, and the game's not going to be around until November, but... It's very interesting, and if that is true gameplay in the trailer, that looked incredible. I gotta give them credit.
From a lot of the buzz and leaks coming out of E3 Judges Week, it's not the Call of Duty we grew up with. It's a solid reboot, which could be interesting.
I'm going to move straight on from that and go to Bethesda's E3 conference, and that's set for June 9th. Sunday.
Which is Sunday night after the Microsoft conference.
And of course, again, you can watch it on all the social media networks and even Mixer now. And there's just like most conferences or anything else. If you want to check out the E3 stuff, it's going to be happening. I believe a little bit of stuff on Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, and Monday are the big main conferences.
Saturday starts the EA Play.
Yes.
And then Sunday's Microsoft and Bethesda.
And then it truly starts for the public on Monday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Tuesday
so,
it starts.
Okay. So skipping a day to like do all that.
They always make it wait after the press conferences because Tuesday there's no more press conferences. The only conference, air quotes, is the Nintendo Direct, which isn't a physical stage show.
Gotcha.
So on to the Bethesda conference.
Which happens right after Microsoft's, right?
Correct, Sunday night.
The same night as Microsoft, directly after.
A lot of people were saying and kind of befuddled as to could Bethesda do another conference. Fallout 76 got some real bad blowback, and it was one of those games that it just kept stepping on itself and making more and more mistakes to the point where
of course
it wasn't even like funny to watch or listen to anymore. It was just depressing. As a Fallout fan, I played the game. I occasionally hop in and play it. It's not what Fallout people wanted or considered a traditional game. They have gone back and improved
some cool missions.
They've gone back and significantly updated the game.
It's just not. It put a bad taste in people's mouth that they did not want to go back to it. A lot of people did.
It beyond put a bad taste in people's mouth. I'm sad to say I really think it fucked up Fallout as a brand, which that was one of their tentpole franchises between Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and it's rough.
Dude, if the internet historian guy made a video about you, then it's a problem. He literally like had a whole breakdown I checked out. If you guys want to check it out to find out more about the Fallout 76 kerfuffle, there's like everything on that. That guy broke down the whole thing really well. Yeah.
The rumor mill is pumping out that they may have Fallout 76 information. They're either at their conference.
Of course, they're going to say something.
Either at their conference or during a separate Fallout live stream. They're apparently bringing a Winter Nuclear Storm Battle Royale to Fallout 76.
It's still. He said it to me already, and it still sounds funny.
Because what every complicated, buggy game needs is a Battle Royale.
Yep, that's exactly what they need right away.
So, just moving along from that topic to some of the other.
Possible Bethesda things.
The other Bethesda studios that isn't Bethesda Softworks.
We have Doom Eternal, of course.
Yes, which Doom Eternal. Have you played 2016 Doom?
I'm still not yet. I played the beta for it, and I loved the multiplayer mode, and I was surprised by that. But I know it was a great game.
It's made by id, and it feels just like an id shooter. It is one of the most polished, satisfying, like, visceral games. I didn't think they could properly reboot Doom. Playing the original Doom as a small, tiny child person.
But they gave you the real feel of that game. The stiff, like, boom, boom, boom,
it was
boom
phenomenal,
feel.
And I appreciate their
powerful guy shooter.
Well, that and just the fact that they're naming it Doom Eternal rather than Doom 2, because there's already been a couple Doom 2s.
Yeah, of course.
So trying to Google that is not fun, nor Twitter it, so that's why they probably went Doom Eternal. Plus, I could totally see them trying to support the multiplayer in this for a lot longer of a time, because the multiplayer from the first Doom reboot, 2016, ended up getting super fragmented because of all the map packs that they did.
Yeah.
To the point where they realized it, and shout out to Bethesda and id that they then released all the DLC packs for free after a while, so that player base could just play all together
and keep
again.
Going and going.
And by doing that, they kind of kept the game multiplayer going for a little minute afterwards, but the single player story of that game, and graphically that game is amazing. So I'm really looking forward to Doom Eternal. That being said, they are also bringing out another Wolfenstein. They had Wolfenstein 2 about a year and a half ago, I want to say. And this is the, not sequel, but spin-off.
This is the one with the two twin girls, I believe.
You are
and it's going to be a co-op shooter, which is awesome. Gotta love the co-op shooter.
And if you think about it, it's a fantastic way that they can use that engine, provide different stories, some tweaks. But just like what we said with Doom, that quality id shooting crunchy mechanics of when you pull a trigger and you see the bullet casing fly out of your gun, it has the perfect sound for that weapon.
Yeah.
It has a very deep story. It's very fast. and it's it. Thumbs up. That looks really great. Outside of that,
we got Rage 2 announced last year, so now we'll probably get like some kind of DLC announcement from that.
Yeah.
I
don't expect to hear anything from
maybe Elder Scrolls 6 tease. I'm gonna say a tease again.
I'm gonna go the other way. They're not gonna say anything about Elder Scrolls 6 because they had that
what's the other game?
Starfield.
Yeah,
that was supposed to be their big new IP. It's supposed to be open world in space, open space.
You were thinking. You said to me, "Oh my God, Fallout / Elder Scrolls in space."
Yeah,
and it's gonna be an amazing game.
The issue,
as long as they do it right.
Well, therein lies the issue. After what they did to Fallout 76, I think the confidence for the studio took a big hit.
But you do know that 76 was kind of passed off to the other studio. It was
Bethesda Texas, or Bethesda
it wasn't
Austin
their main
or whatever.
Bethesda studio.
But it got worked on by the main studio at various points, so it's still...
Of course.
It still left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth, but I think they can totally redeem themselves. I think they have the capability to put out awesome games.
Especially with a new name.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that people that used to just blindly buy Bethesda games because they were of a certain quality, and you expected a certain amount of jank. If you played Oblivion and you played Skyrim,
of course.
There's a certain amount of jank in that game when you shoot a dude with an arrow and he shoots out of your line of sight across the world. That's just a physics glitch you expect. In a single-player game, not that big of a deal. In a multiplayer game, that's game-breaking and crashes the server.
Especially when you introduce PvP in an open-world game. And nukes can't even be handled getting shot more than once.
In their defense, the way they pitched it, the idea sounded awesome. But the execution and the idea were so vastly different that it just...
You're going to say a no on Elder Scrolls 6. I'm going to say a maybe on a teaser.
I'm saying they're not even going to say Elder Scrolls 6 because Elder Scrolls 6 is so next generation. They're still in the concept phase.
Yeah, no, I know. But I could still see them giving us a little dragon or something like that, just to have the fans just...
I think they're gonna close the show with Starfield. I think they're gonna have a Starfield trailer or teaser, maybe 90 seconds.
I definitely agree with you on that.
No actual gameplay. Last time they showed a Starfield
I think
trailer,
we might get something from Starfield. I think we might actually get a full trailer.
I think Starfield is going to be a next-gen launch game. I think Starfield.
So do I, but I think we're going to get a full game, not a gameplay trailer, but a nice cinematic trailer that kind of introduces us to it and gives us an idea of what we're looking at.
I think it's going to be an on-rails, and if they show any gameplay, it's going to be like clips of gameplay where they select, a minute of this.
I don't think they're going to do any of that.
I totally think they could do a little bit of gameplay.
I think that's too risky because the game's bound to change completely, and you know how that shit gets.
True. People get all freaked out about the puddles.
Oh
not
my god, the puddle!
Shout out to
So I'm gonna say fully cinematic, and because the game, honestly, the game will look better though, if anything, because the next gen console's coming. But regardless, let's move on from Bethesda so we can get this moving.
Yeah.
And all right, so we got. Of course,
Ubisoft.
Everybody knows Ubisoft. Don't know why there's a Fortnite video playing in an Ubisoft thing.
Down.
But we had recently, which is a little weird, an announcement for Ghost Recon Breakpoint and a big, almost conference-esque style of an announcement with GameSpot talking about it and a bunch of other people.
I think that game...
Kind of like a state of play, but strictly for Ghost Recon.
I think that game was going to leak.
And they got ahead of it. Because that looked like an E3 presentation.
I 100% think that game was going to just leak like a sieve. And so one of the big outlets came to them and was like, hey, let's have a conversation about this before all this gets out. Because I feel that's the same way Sony addressed the situation with a lot of the PS5 information. Hey, before this gets out, let's actually have a conversation about it and get in front of this.
Well, it always gets leaked. It
does, but if you talk about it, you control the conversation versus letting news outlets speculate about it without any
and then you get a bunch of BS like that, and it makes you look bad one way or the other.
And not only that, but now
if they overcompensate too, and then you come out with way less, people get bugged out.
Now a lot of people are like, "Oh, that game with the Punisher in it, John Barenthal, the dude from Walking Dead. Oh yeah, I'll play that game."
Dude, he was in it apparently, which I didn't even know. He was in the last DLC for Wildlands. That's how they introduced him, and now they're gonna put him as one of the main bad guys in the next game, and I think that's awesome.
I'm not a Wildlands player, but I kind of casually follow it. They did a Predator DLC for it. They did a Sam Fisher DLC.
Yeah. Well, I played it a little bit with Joey. I did the whole console swap thing with him, and I played it a little bit. And it's a good game, but it's very too much of the same.
The previous Ghost Wildlands came out for over 2 years ago, and there's still content supporting that game. That is impressive, Ubisoft.
This one looks awesome with what they're doing with it. I gotta say, for real, the breakpoint, like did you see the breakdown of it?
Yeah,
like the trailer and all that. The way that they introduced a couple mechanics. I've been saying about shooters since probably Halo 2 days that you really need to introduce a wound mechanic. Where if your guy gets shot in the arm, he now can't use his right arm. Your accuracy is now befuddled.
And
you get shot in the leg. You have to limp. You have to patch yourself up to get your full capabilities back, and it still drops like 5%. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you patched yourself up, but you still got a 5% weakness now, and like a little more each time.
And that's almost adding like that RPG element to a shooter, which is desperately needed.
It's so much. And funniest and weirdest person to say anything about it, but Jared Petty had a huge argument with the whole Kind of Funny group on a Gamescast about how Halo. He thought nothing has changed in gun games since Halo revolutionized it.
Yeah.
And they lost their nugget. Because they're Destiny players and stuff. Andrea Renee and Freya were coming at him.
Didn't they say he argued that like Halo 2 was a bad game and everyone's like, dude.
I don't know about all that, but when he said it, it kind of clicked in my head that nothing revolutionary has happened in a gun game or nothing has changed the way you play a gun game.
Coming from his old like CRT arcade experience, I can totally see how he has that perspective. But for someone that doesn't play shooters, that's an okay perspective.
Yes, but I kind of agree with him in a sense. Besides the ability thing, like people started introducing abilities where you can fly or do this or do that RPG-esque abilities.
And I think a lot of the developments that have come from that are like controller developments.
Yeah,
do you remember you used to right click the R stick to like zoom in, and everyone's like, ugh, why?
Halo, why are you doing this
or
to
worse
me?
Or worse yet, you're trying to like real quick just like strafe somebody, and then you just press in and you scope in on nothing
by accident all the time. And it still happens with beatdowns and stuff. Like you're like
or when RB used to be your melee, your bumper jumper setting.
That too. Yeah. There's a lot of different things. We're getting a little off topic. We need to try to keep going.
Ubisoft has said they're going to
Ghost Recon's going to be awesome.
They're going to have 4 titles this year at E3.
Yes.
One of them being the new Ghost Recon.
3 more AAA games.
Correct. So that's 4 total. So you have
releasing
3 more
by this fiscal year for Ubisoft,
which is March. So that being said, Skull and Bones they have announced they've pushed indefinitely.
Yeah,
Skull and Bones
right here,
is more or less just getting shelved
from GameSpot. Of course,
it no longer has a date. They've moved its date twice. I think that's one of those games that it's going to end up being a ghost game. It's going to be like halfway in beta, and they're just going to put it away and not come back to it, and then maybe use the assets in another game later on down the road. I think that's a game that's not going to exist.
That is a possibility, or it just kind of just slides out because they have it. Like Ubisoft has done that in the past.
It's possible they might turn it over to another team. I don't know, but when they remove the date from something after they've pushed the date twice, I have zero confidence that game's coming out. That being said,
again, bad meets on that topic. Beyond Good and Evil 2, which has been a weird kind of announcement thing, and they keep showing off tech demos that are kind of.
It's them bringing back a really cool older franchise
I think they're trying to make huge,
which I think they can make huge. But the problem is, I think they're realizing they're getting into something that's going to need more time than they may have initially thought. The trailer they showed last year, the year before, was strictly CG. Very cool. Looked like it was in that universe. Looked like it was a fun story, but it's going to take some time in the oven. It's going to need a while.
100%.
I think that one of the other games that they're going to announce is the next iteration of Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Odyssey came last year.
Vikings one, that's right.
Correct, because they teased that in whatever the last Division 2 in like the Washington Center. There was a poster for a Vikings Assassins thing, which Ubisoft is known for teasing stuff. That and the rumor mill's been pumping out for a while that there's going to be Watch Dogs 3 and have Watch Dogs take place in London and have hardly any gun mechanics. Because London is a traditionally non-firearm country, so it's going to play into that a lot more with like batons and
that's a really good excuse for going in towards that style then I've seen Ubisoft do that a lot with like their weapons and stuff with let's do Origins so you can restrict it to this style of weapon. And let's do Odyssey so we can restrict it to this style.
If they tie it into a story-based development, it totally justifies it. Like, it would make sense that maybe endgame you get a gun, but if you set off a gun, like, half the town freaks out, GTA
they're probably going to stick strictly with, like, mainly pistols, and then maybe get an assault rifle at some point.
I don't even think they're going to hit assault
rifles. Endgame for fun kind of stuff.
The cops don't even have guns over there.
Oh, I know, but I'm telling you, they'll do it as almost like a cheat code-esque style of play.
But I think Ubisoft is going to have some cool stuff.
That sounds awesome.
I also expect Ubisoft to have something for Nintendo, even if they don't necessarily give it a release date this year. I wholeheartedly think there's going to be some kind of Nintendo trailer.
Maybe.
Dude, that game, for the longest time, was the biggest third-party selling Switch game.
And it's been,
period.
2 years since?
It's been 2 years because it was a launch title. March will be 2 years.
And they sold a lot within that first year, so I could totally see them greenlighting that.
It was a great game, and not only that, but they've been quietly, Nintendo has been rumbling about a Star Fox racing game that nobody has really been able to pin down who's doing it.
It's been a while since Mario Kart 8.
What makes me think Ubisoft for this is the fact that in, what was the Ubisoft Toys to Life spaceship game? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Starlink.
Starlink.
Battle for Atlas.
Got it.
In the Switch version of that, you had Star Fox's R-Wing and Star Fox.
And it would like transform.
And they ended up making that a stealth Star Fox game. And I totally think that was Nintendo's test to be like, hey, Ubisoft, you've always ridden with us even since like the Wii U and the Wii. What can you do with this?
Yeah, they always have with Far Cry and all that stuff came out.
The last studio that did the last Star Fox game, I don't recall, but it was Star Fox Zero, and it really wasn't a good Star Fox game.
Very true.
So I would not be surprised to see them kind of renting out their IPs to really cool studios that they have a good relationship with, and said, "Hey, Ubisoft, you've got studios across the world. What can you do with this?"
Yeah. So I don't think we'll see any more Tom Clancy games. I know we're gonna get some announcements on Rainbow Six Siege with operators and stuff like that.
I still think they're gonna have some kind of Splinter Cell tease because
I was gonna say leave out all the Tom Clancy games except Splinter Cell.
Well, they have drunk developers talking about it on Twitter, so I think it might happen.
I think that was a good tease, because then he goes, "Oh wait, I'm in trouble."
Yeah, the dude even said, "Oh, please don't retweet this."
He was totally faking it. It was a troll from Ubisoft to mess with us before. Again, what you said, the leak thing.
Yep.
Just in case it got leaked. They already put something out there, and they can go, "We told you guys it was coming. We were just messing with you."
Ubisoft has had some amazing PR.
And I was going to say, they have a very good way of releasing things that is kind of funny or kind of like...
For putting their main dude, Yves Saint Guillemot, out there, whatever, from when they were fighting off Vivendi, like, please, this might be our last year here. Buy our games!
Yeah.
So good for Ubisoft.
Ubisoft's going to be a great conference this year. They were always a little goofy at their E3 conferences with their drum parades and all that coming in hot. So we can see them Monday, June 10th.
Yeah, let's move on to the Square Enix.
We're going to go over to Square Enix, and because we want to try and wrap this podcast up within, a few more minutes. We got a few things left to go over.
Real quick before we hit Square, shout out to the Kind of Funny Game Showcase. That is going to be before Square.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be real cool. It's going to be very indie-focused, multiple platforms. Shout out to Greg Miller and the crew. Keep it going, guys.
They are great over there, Kind of Funny. Me and Chris watch them all the time, and they're a great way to get your gaming news if you guys want to check them out.
If you can't give us your Twitch Prime subscription, give it to them.
Yeah, once we finally get there. Those guys over there are awesome, and they got the showcase coming with a ton of indie games. So if you're a Switch player or an indie game fan in general, check them out at the right before the Square Enix conference.
Before Square, I believe it's 7 o'clock.
So that's right after the Ubisoft conference as well. And
correct.
So you guys should definitely go check them out. It'll probably either be on their YouTube or their Twitch or both.
Let's get into Square because we know this episode is running super long. So Square Enix, the big thing is going to be the Avengers title from Crystal Dynamics.
That's the makers. All right, we're gonna go right into that. Then I'll go over here.
Yep, the makers of the Tomb Raider reboots and their fantastic story-driven games. This is shaping up to be a really interesting game. They seem to be hyping story, but at the same time, a lot of the job postings and a lot of the buzz around it, we're reporting off Newsweek right now, is that it is going to be a open world-ish, multiplayer-ish game. Emphasis on the ish.
Ish.
So
a
lot of the term that gets thrown around is a Destiny-like, that live services, and I think that it's going to be interesting to see a single-player story-driven developer.
It definitely is.
Try and do a crack at a MMO-style Destiny-like game. Obviously going to be cross-platform, going to be on all the major consoles, Xbox and PlayStation. We don't know if it'll make Switch. Switch has its own Marvel title coming that we'll talk about in a little bit when we hit Nintendo.
The way that the Crystal Dynamics games have been so far, I don't see it coming to Switch with the power behind it.
I don't see it coming to Switch either, but I also said that about Bethesda porting Doom Eternal and Wolfenstein 2 to the Switch. So they may have a really gimped down version of it that won't be crossplay, might only be playable.
Yeah, but we're
with
getting
Switch.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance already, so we have our Marvel title to settle on the Switch, just like we have our Marvel title on PS4, and now we're getting one for all the consoles.
It's interesting that it's Marvel presents the Avengers. They're doing that
it's
like
Marvel's
Spider-Man.
Avengers.
Yeah, Marvel Game Studio is working in conjunction with Crystal Dynamics on this project, and it looks spot on.
Great.
Marvel's doing the great job of finding amazing studios and partnering with them rather than trying to develop everything in-house, and I think you're seeing the quality with Insomniac's Spider-Man, with hopefully Crystal Dynamics' Avengers game. I'm really hyped for this one on Monday. That's all I got about it. How about you?
Well, someone over on Twitter, Evan Falarka, he found some stuff, and it was said straight up about the E3 conference, and it just was exciting to me. It says, embrace your powers and join key members of the development team at Crystal Dynamics and the creative team of Marvel Games as they talk exclusively about an upcoming Marvel's Avenger. This is the defining Avengers gaming experience, an epic action-adventure that combines cinematic storytelling with continuous single-player and cooperative gameplay. Moderated by Andrea Renee from What's Good Games, and she frequently is also on Kinda Funny. And they assemble in teams up to 4 players, which is great, and master extraordinary abilities, customize your heroes to fit your playstyle, and combine powers to defend an ever-expanding world under constant threat. Keywords right there. Ever-expanding world under constant threat. Games as a service kind of sounds like what they're going for, with a great single-player / co-op story.
And not only that, but with the folding of the last Marvel MMO, when that went like 2 years ago, when that studio folded, there's totally a void of Marvel games out there that people are definitely going to clamp onto. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that. And of course, from Square Enix themselves, the press conference.
I totally expect to see a Final Fantasy VII
right here.
bit. Since they have said it's episodic, I think we could see the first episode in the not too distant future, because they've been talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake for like 5 years.
Yeah, and if anyone's familiar with Square Enix at all, we know that they usually don't work on many games at once. They like to put as much manpower as they can into one awesome title.
And after the release of Kingdom Hearts, they now have a whole team freed up to possibly work on different episodes.
Like, they have a small team still doing the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3, and then they have a big team working on Final Fantasy VII, the main Square Enix team. And then they have Crystal Dynamics, owned by Square Enix, working on Avengers.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a few other games, like maybe Babylon's Fall and maybe Nier Automata for the Switch.
Because they ported
Nier 3.
They ported Nier Automata to the Xbox too. So, yeah, Square Enix is bringing a lot of games to a lot of places. Shout out to Octopath Traveler. If you haven't played that and own a Switch and are an RPG fan, hop on it. Amazing RPG.
And we might get an announcement from Octopath Traveler. I don't really see that happening this soon. This is from Digital Trends, by the way.
I could totally see that game supported with DLC before I see a sequel.
Yeah, we got a possible Chrono Trigger, possible Thief. There's quite a few games that could be popping up for Square Enix's
Square Enix
conference.
still has a couple surprises left.
But in my opinion, these two are the definites at E3 that they're going to be focusing on to close out the show. and maybe a few of their other titles, maybe something for the Switch, something like that.
Speaking of the Switch, let's hit over to Nintendo. The first bit of news from the Nintendos is they're actually doing a conference this week before E3 on June 5th, Wednesday, talking exclusively about Pokemon Sword and Shield. They did the
new Switch title coming up.
Weird business direct last week. Nintendo keeps doing these focus directs. If you remember the Smash Brothers release for Switch, they had an entire half-hour direct exclusively just about the characters and everything. They're making their directs very focused. So if you're not necessarily into that, you can skip it. But for the people that are super into it, they're going to dive deep into that. And I imagine they'll have a trailer or some kind of other mention on their actual E3 Direct, but it's cool that they're getting out in front with this, so that way you're not bogging down your E3 showcase with very detailed, specific thing about Pokemon, which everyone knows is huge, but it's a very specific audience.
Yeah, and as we were saying, this is going to be a Direct, just like we were talking about with PlayStation and a lot of the other teams like EA. They're doing live streams for most of their stuff. They have another live stream on June 11th with the Nintendo Direct.
Which is the Tuesday after everyone else's conference, the first day of E3 floor being open.
Yeah, so what they always do start theirs usually during the actual E3 time.
And they often, after their actual legitimate Direct, they live stream all day from the show floor. They've got Mario Maker 2 stuff. They got Splatoon 2 tournaments. Nintendo doing their Nintendo
Super Smash Brothers tournament. They like to get out there with the fans and the consumers and do some stuff. And we're going to see a couple live streams and maybe a little bit of stage things, but not too much.
I think in their Direct itself...
Probably going to get an announcement or two.
I think in their Direct itself was where we're going to see a lot of the third-party partner announcements for Switch games. If it's not already in that Ubisoft or Square Enix conference itself, or they might have a tease say, hey,
it'll be first
don't forget this Nintendo stuff at this time.
Yeah.
Because they will do that with some of their tight partners and showcase a couple things in their Direct.
Definitely going to be first party focused and probably, update focused and this new stuff, new stuff's coming.
I think the big highlights are going to be Mario Maker 2 at the end of the month, at the end of June.
Huge highlight of the thing.
The new Pokemon Sword and Shield. Pokemon Sword and Shield will sell a million Switches, and I could also...
Well, that's why they're focusing strictly on a Direct.
And I could also see on the E3 announcement, not even on the Pokemon announcement, because the Pokemon announcement on the 5th is going to be more game-focused. I could see the E3 announcement with a Pokemon-themed Switch. Because when they brought out the...
Possibly even one of the new Switches.
When they go, let's go Eevee, let's go Pikachu, they had the themed, yellow one.
Yeah.
So I could totally see them busting out a new Pokemon, or even a new Switch version. I don't think the Switch version is coming just yet. I see that as a 2020 thing, because when the new consoles start to launch for the next generation, I think that's when they're going to have to look at Switch revisions to be like, hey, we need a hardware refresh.
They're looking at it now, but they definitely want to pace themselves. I see what you're saying there. I think the smaller one's going to come a little sooner, and the more beefier one, they're going to wait on that. But we'll see.
It's possible.
And the... So I like last year, they focused, if you guys saw E3 last year, they strictly focused on Super Smash Brothers as their whole thing. And a lot of people were either so excited about that or a little thrown off by that as being why did Nintendo not talk about anything but one game? I think that's why they're doing this Pokemon thing.
Excruciating detail on Smash Brothers.
So I think that's why they're doing the Pokemon thing to go, okay, the true Pokemon fans are going to get what we did with Smash, and we're going to go into true detail about the game and tell you what's coming. And then we're going to get a separate Direct, which, as we said, on June 11th, which is more the smaller third-party and maybe one or two first-party announcements.
Yeah. They've already...
Link's Awakening as well. We might get a trailer from that.
Correct, which that looks amazing. There's already been a trailer out there for it, but I would not be surprised if they showed more, maybe even gave us a date. A part of me is super, super hopeful we get a Metroid Prime Trilogy remaster on the Switch.
I know that's
what everyone on the Twitterverse wants. Nintendo has said nothing about it. They've pushed Metroid Prime 4. So, I don't know. We'll see. But we will thank you for listening to the Rarity Gaming Podcast.
Yeah, very much.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Eric. And we're going to be trying to get more podcasts out there. And I'm going to start trying to do some solo videos as well, both of us. And thank you for listening, guys. And we're going to keep it going.
Everybody keep gaming.
Yeah, have a great day. And this was Rarity Games.